That's a great question. What would I do to try to depolarize? Well, the first thing I do is to realize that my most important single job, because people always say, what's the first thing you're going to do as president? They think, okay, it's going to be a tax system, it's going to be health care. I say, no, the first thing we're going to do is try to bring this country back together. Look, I governed in a state that was overwhelmingly Democrat. I understand that. I kept getting elected. Some of my opponents in this race never got reelected. I kept getting reelected in the state where I shouldn't have ever gotten elected in the first place. Now, I couldn't have done that had I gone in and said, okay, folks, I'm a Republican, and by golly, everybody's going to think like Republicans, live like Republicans, and vote like Republicans. I'd have been a one-termer. In fact, I probably wouldn't have been a full-termer. I'd have been taken out and you'd never heard from me again. What we're going to do is to help Americans to understand that, look, Republicans aren't right all the time. Democrats aren't wrong all the time. Most of the time they are, but not all the time. And we're going to have to say that some problems are going to have to be fixed by sitting down and recognizing, instead of arguing over the parts at which we disagree, start with the parts in which we agree. Let's take health care. We may have a complete agreement on what ought to be done, but we both agree that there's a real problem and that it's getting worse, not better. I think Democrats and Republicans I've seen across the country believe that we need to move to a prevention, not intervention-based system, believe there ought to be incentives. There are some fundamental things that we do agree on. Start there. Don't start with the parts that are going to make us both mad. Start with the parts that will make us both happy and work from that. And take the matter as often as possible directly to the people, because part of our problem is people in Washington breathe that rarefied air, and it's like they just don't live in the same world the rest of us do. And when I couldn't get things through a legislature that didn't want me to succeed, I went to the people and asked them to go to their legislators. And they put a much better pressure on the legislators than I ever could. Because they would say, if you don't do it, we'll fire you and get somebody who will.